What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a ton of construction in Infinite Galaxy, and I'm going to show you how to save a ton of time on that. So let's get into it. Alright, so as previously mentioned, I'm going to be doing a lot of construction. And so once you get up towards the upper echelon of constructing things in Infinite Galaxy, it starts to take a lot of time. So there's a lot more I can do, but let's just take a look and assume that I was about to start upgrading my command center. As you can see, it is currently predicting it will take 12 days, and I've already actually taken a lot of steps to get that time brought down a bit. If I didn't already have a bunch of spaceport construction speed, this would take over 2 weeks. But there are a lot of things that I can still do right now that will get that time down a lot. And that will just save me a ton in speed ups or in sitting around waiting when I don't have to. So we're going to go over everything that you can do. Now, not all of these things are going to be super easy to do. Some of these things might outright just not be an option for you, but I figure I'll mention them in the video in case they are. So we're going to start with the one that's the least likely to benefit you, but it certainly could, and that is revolving around the Princep and the galaxy that is ultimately running the nebula. So we're going to go to the capital city here, which, as you can see, is currently being run by the Ace Alliance. And so there's a few things that you can do. The first is you can be named a Federation officer, in particular, Project Minister. And if you have a good relationship with the Princep of the server, you can ask to be named Project Minister before you undergo a bunch of construction. And as you can see, plus 10% spaceport construction speed. Make sure that you don't have a particularly bad relationship, otherwise you might get named Pirate and have minus 6% spaceport construction speed. There's another thing you can do that is a bit more likely, as long as you have some level of communication with the Princep. You can ask them to use one of these Federation buffs, specifically basic construction. And this will give the entire nebula plus 10% spaceport construction speed. Now we are currently on cooldown for another 14 hours from a previous buff being used, so that is not an option right this minute, but it is something that can be done, and it's definitely one of those things where you might as well message them and ask, and you might get an answer, even if it's not, sure, let me go ahead and activate that for you. It might be, well, we're planning on doing that on Tuesday, so if you can hang out until Tuesday, that's when we'll do that. All right, so the next thing that you can do, and again, this one isn't necessarily something you can quickly and easily do, but it is worth checking out. If your alliance is in an area where there are star systems that have buffs, you can see if there are any available that buff spaceport construction speed. So if we go here, you can check what buffs you do have by going to Alliance Territory and then check buffs here. And you'll see that we actually have right here, Minor Marson, System 9009, 17% spaceport construction speed. And that is what the icon looks like for a system that gives spaceport construction speed. This is not the only star system that does that, but so if you have room to expand your alliance and you happen to be near a node, it might be worth getting all that extra construction speed before you actually start. All right, this next one is something that will for sure help you if you hadn't already been doing it, and that is resetting your core module. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go in here, as you can see, I have almost nothing allocated to development, and I have a lot allocated to weapon. Now, if we do go into development, there's actually several nodes that give, you guessed it, spaceport construction speed. There's a node over here, and then there's another node over here that gives quite a bit as well. So what you can do is you can reset, and if you spend one core module reset chip right here, then you can completely redistribute your points and you can claim all of these nodes. So I'll go ahead and do that and we'll jump back in. All right, so I still have a lot of available skill points, but I'm only going to have this here for the duration that I'm doing construction. So I'm not actually going to spend the rest of the points because I'm going to reset it back to combat after I do all my construction. But you can see we picked up 5% here and 10% here, but I also went for the 5% research speed and another 10% research speed while I was here. And I'll show you why, because that brings us to the next thing that you can do. As you may have guessed, research. So if we go into development here, there are two nodes in particular. You can't miss the first one, Literally, you can't miss the first one. 10% spaceport construction speed as soon as you start down development. However, as you get farther down development, there's modularized construction 2 up here. And for this, I want to say that you need research center like level 27 maybe, so it might be a bit out of reach, but as soon as you're able to get it, it's another 10% construction speed, which is very significant. And yeah, well worth doing. So if you haven't already, put a few more points into that research and it can save you quite a bit of time. All right, and finally, we're going to talk about where you have the opportunity to get the absolute biggest boost to your construction speed, your crew. There's a few different angles of approach here, so let's get into it. So the first is, of course, you want to have a crew formation that includes 2 crew members in particular that specifically give buffs as crew members to your construction speed. So let's check it out. I have my formation 3 here for just that purpose. And when we make this swap, you'll see here, Olivera Kudrow. I have her skill at level 14, so it's giving me 13.6, but ultimately you can get 15.2% additional spaceport construction speed. But that's not the big one. The big one is this guy right here, Ashim Rich. And his name is pretty fitting because he will save you a ton of time. As you can see here, his secondary skill, I only have it at level 7, and it's giving 22.9% spaceport construction, which is a ton. And he goes all the way up to 43.3%. So just having him on your crew before you do construction is going to save you a ton of time. However, there's another thing that you really want to pay attention to, and that is your crew skill tree. So right here, Formation 2, this is my combat crew. So you'll notice that we've got 111 points in command, but we've got almost 550 points in combat. However, the formation that I just showed you, Formation 3, swaps a lot of that out for 390 points in command. And while this is a very lofty goal, obviously the more points you can get in command, the better. You can actually cap out, as far as construction speed goes, by getting 400 points in the command tree. That's because there are 3 nodes in here that will give construction speed. You've got this one for up to 12%. If we go down to here, you can get another 5%, and this also comes with research speed. And then if you go all the way down to here, this is the final node, and I have it 4 out of 5, not quite maxed. I have 19.2%, but it goes up to another 24% spaceport construction speed. So just by using the right crew, I am getting over 50% more spaceport construction speed. I think over 60%, just a very, very significant amount. So while I do have an opportunity to get even more than I have by getting the right buff from my Princep and by having the Nebula buff going on, ultimately, if we take a look at my stats here, you'll see the construction speed. Spaceport construction speed plus 150.4%. That is going to shave so much time off this construction. Now, I already had a fair amount of that when I showed it to you originally, but just making the changes that you saw right there, if we pop over and look at that same construction project, we cut it down by a quarter. It's now only 9 days for construction. That is a massive, massive difference. If you look at the cost in Corium, it's so much cheaper. So if you're going to be doing a lot of construction back to back to back, it is wise to save up a lot of resources, as long as you can keep it safe, of course, and do your construction when you can have all of these buffs in effect, and it will save you so much time on your construction. But all right, so if you made it this far into the video, there is one other avenue you can pursue to save time when you're doing big construction projects. And it all revolves around one thing in particular, and that is that it pays to have friends. If you have an alliance that is interested in working together and helping one another, then you can do a few things. The first is you can actually construct a higher level embassy. And doing this, as you can see, will give you an additional help time, which means if I were to upgrade this, 27 people would be able to help a construction in progress, which will just knock some time off of it. And then you can also do some things in your alliance tech. There's 2 in particular. So in other, if we go to help time, you can increase the effectiveness of each help, how much time it is actually shaving off your project. And of course, the big one, if we go here to production, you can see spaceport construction, and you can actually, as an alliance, work towards an increase to spaceport construction speed for everyone in the alliance. And there you have it. To the best of my knowledge, that is all of the different avenues to speed up your construction projects. Besides, of course, the obvious one, throw some corium at it. But yeah, having said that, if there's anything that I forgot, let me know in the comments below. But I think I've covered everything that could possibly help you speed up your construction, as you just saw pop up on my screen right there. But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys very much for checking out this video. Please let me know if I forgot anything in the comments, or if I mentioned something that you hadn't even thought of that saved you some time. I just want to know if these videos are actually helping you guys out. But otherwise, again, thanks for checking this out. Thank you to Livepool for editing this video, and I will see you guys real soon. Until next time.
Peace!